It was Christmas afternoon, the snow dusting down in quiet flakes, and Serena Hale sat by herself at a tiny windowside table inside the snug maple and pine bistro. She stared blankly at the glass of water in front of her, hardly noticing the golden daylight shimmering across the city outside. The warmth of the restaurant, the festive wreaths, the soft holiday music, all felt agonizingly remote, unable to soften the sting of what had just happened. She had put on her best outfit, practiced her most beaming smile, and had dared to believe that maybe, just maybe, it would be through this blind date that life finally chose her instead of passing her by. But the minute he walked in, he gave her a single dismissive glance, whispered something to the hostess, and slipped back out into the snow without approaching her table. Her fragile hope was shattered in that instant. Astonishing, really, so one careless moment could make a person feel small, unwanted, and replaceable. Serena looked down, battling the weight that leaned against her chest. She wasn't going to cry in public, but it felt so painfully familiar, it almost took her breath away. If you still believe in kindness and second chances, please like, share, and subscribe to Real Kindness Stories, and let us know in comments where you are watching from. Serena leaned back in her chair slightly and stared at the empty one across from her. Again, she wondered if she was simply destined to walk through life alone. The last 3 years had been about rebuilding, recovering from the loss of her parents and escaping a toxic relationship that siphoned the best parts of her. She worked as a junior interior designer, lived in a tiny apartment, and convinced herself she had accepted her loneliness. But days like this, days sprinkled with families, laughter, and warmth, made the ache inside her grow unbearably heavy still. She told herself, she had showed up, she had tried, because even wounded hearts deserve a chance. The question was, could she keep trying after this? Just as she mustered the strength to stand and leave, she heard a soft sound, teeny boots tapping lightly across the wooden floor. Serena looked up. Standing beside her table were 2 little identical twin girls, no more than 3 years old, in matching red Christmas dresses, clutching identical stuffed bears. Serena blinked, momentarily confused. The braver one rested her chin on the table, while the quieter twin peeked out from behind her sister's shoulder, as if she were hoping for something but too timid to believe she deserved it. Their bright blue eyes shone with that kind innocent warmth which Serena hadn't seen in a long time. Something about their tiny faces so gently unraveled the sadness wrapped around her heart. The girls seemed almost reluctant, like they had garnered a bit of courage from the glowing decorations surrounding them. Before approaching a stranger, Serena straightened, offering a small smile despite the weight she carried. Children always managed to coax a smile out of her, no matter how heavy her heart felt. She hadn't said anything before a tall man approached from several tables over. His expression changed first from surprise to relief, then something softer. A knowing smile that spoke volumes of being aware his daughters had indeed wandered off. But he wasn't angry about it. The bolder twin leaned in closer, her sincerity so pure that it caught Serena's breath. The longing in the child's eyes didn't belong to someone her age. It felt as though the world had stopped, a suspended moment, to listen. Serena's chest tightened. This wasn't simple curiosity. It was something deeper, an unspoken understanding, as if the children could somehow sense her loneliness in a way only children seem to know. Then, like the sun breaking through heavy clouds, it hit her. These little girls hadn't come to her by accident. Something had drawn them here, some quiet nudge from life itself, offering her a moment she didn't yet understand. Their father, Adrian Wells, finally reached the table, letting out a breath of relief. There was a hint of nervous embarrassment coloring his posture. He gave Serena a soft apology, one full of gratitude, humility, and a pain he didn't try to hide. He introduced himself as Adrian and gently presented his daughters, Mary and Lainey. He told them they had moved to the city recently, and this Christmas felt different for them. Quieter, heavier. There had been a loss, he said, one which still lingered in their home like a cold shadow that refused to leave. Serena listened intently, her mind absorbing every weight that lay behind his words. She felt an unexpected ache in her heart for this family she had just met. In the soft daylight pouring through the restaurant windows, she saw a man doing his best for his little girls, yet there was so much grief he carried that he allowed no one in the world to see. Soon enough, Adrian did catch the faint redness around Serena's eyes, and when she quietly admitted what had happened to her just a moment before, he looked at her with a tenderness that surprised her, a softness that wasn't pity, but understanding. Then, with gentle sincerity, he inquired as to whether she would like some company, just so she should not have to spend Christmas afternoon alone. Before Serena could say anything, the twins nodded in an instant, hopeful little faces alight as though the idea was all theirs from the very start. And for the first time that day, Serena allowed herself to accept something good, without questioning why she was worthy of it. They sat together, the girls speaking in bursts of sweet, excited chatter about their stuffed bears, their favorite Christmas songs, and how they wished their home felt warm again because their daddy tried so hard. But sometimes, Mary whispered, the grown-ups need more hearts around them. The hours drifted by, and outside, the bright daylight softened to a gentle winter glow. Serena was laughing, really laughing, for the first time in years. Across the table, Adrian watched her with gratitude and quiet incredulity, a man standing witness as color seeped back into a world he had grown accustomed to seeing in shades of gray. He opened up about his struggles, raising twins alone, feeling like he was never enough, trying to rebuild a life that had fallen apart without warning. Serena listened with growing, flowering compassion in her eyes, with every word deeper. She knew of loss herself, too well not to feel his pain. By the time dessert arrived, the twins had claimed Serena's lap, as though they'd known her far longer than a single afternoon. Adrian looked at her once more, this time with a silent question in his eyes. Not a demand, not an assumption, just gentle hope. He inquired if they might ever see her again, whether she would like to join them for activities over Christmas in the days ahead. If maybe, just maybe, this improbable connection could be the first thread in a tapestry of healing for them all. A warmth spread upwards through Serena's chest, one she had believed long lost to her. She knew, instinctively, that this quiet, special afternoon had shifted something inside her, in ways she could still not articulate. She nodded. She chose hope, for the first time in years. If this story warmed your heart, or brought a tear to your eye, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in kindness, and subscribe to Real Kindness Stories. Your support helps these stories reach more beautiful souls. And before you go, tell us in the comments, which moment touched you the most? As Serena stepped out of the restaurant that evening, Mary and Lainey waving enthusiastically from the doorway, and Adrian offering her a gentle, hopeful smile, it came to her surprisingly that there was something she should have never learned on this Christmas afternoon. Sometimes, rejection places you exactly where you are meant to be, for life will take whatever is not right, just to guide you toward the family your heart didn't even know it was waiting for.